I am mining cryptocurrency, but I'm getting paid in Solana. If you want to know how I'm doing it, stick around to the end of this video. So in my environment, I have 5 Antminer L3 pluses across the top shelf, a FutureBit Apollo Litecoin miner on the second shelf, and a 6th Antminer L3 plus here. Now, if you want to know how I went about actually deploying these and even modifying them so that they're nice and quiet, at least for household mining, I've got an entire playlist about how to convert an Antminer L3 plus into being a somewhat silent Antminer. It significantly reduces the decibel level, and I've got, again, a lot of content on this YouTube channel, an entire playlist dedicated to it. So what you're here to focus on today is how am I actually getting paid in not Litecoin? How am I getting paid in proof of stake chains like Solana, like Polkadot? That's what I'm going to show you. So the magic that is really happening here is using a mining pool called ProHashing. You can get to them at ProHashing.com, or if you check in the description below, I've actually got a referral link there that can get you set up right away. So definitely jump in and check that out if this is going to be something that you're interested in doing moving forward. But it actually occurs to me that some of you may not be familiar at all with how proof of work mining actually works. The idea is that, well, it's kind of complicated, and I'm trying to erase and it doesn't work. The idea, though, is with these miners, they are trying to find a block for the blockchain. The blockchain is a chain of blocks, and they're all trying to find the next block in the blockchain. And the way these miners work is they're literally guessing hundreds of thousands or millions of random guesses for what matches the block every single second. The thing about these proof of work blockchains, though, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin, which is actually using the exact same algorithm as Litecoin. The thing about them is that as the blockchain grows and grows and grows and grows, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder for these devices to actually find a block. So what ends up happening is we either have to buy bigger hardware that can make more guesses per second, or what we have to do is we have to pool all of our guesses together. Literally, I could have the 7 miners that I have in my entire environment, like you just saw, they're making all these guesses, and I go to my neighbor and I ask them, like, hey, I'm struggling to find blocks on a regular schedule. Let's combine our blocks together. That way, at some point, one of us will land a block, and then we'll just split the reward because we're combining all of our hashing power to do it. That happens on an international scale, and that's why we call these mining pools. Literally, everybody sends their guesses to this central mining pool that's run by like ProHashing or many other mining pools that exist. And then it happens very, very frequently at a large scale then. Blocks are found all the time. And then everybody's contribution to the pool, it gets split up evenly based on their contribution to the pool. And that's how proof of work algorithms now work in today's real world, and that's how we all get paid. The thing about this, though, is you saw my Litecoin miners downstairs. Those are all mining the Litecoin algorithm. It's called the script algorithm, is what Litecoin and Dogecoin use. And when those are mining Litecoin, traditionally, that's what you got paid in. We found a block for Litecoin, and then that's what you get your share of the Litecoin back. The cool thing about ProHashing is they have a massive pool of all sorts of cryptocurrencies. So we'll do the Litecoin mining for them. And I'll say, instead of paying me in Litecoin, pay me in a distribution of many different coins. Check this out. I'm going to actually log in real quick. So I log in and I'm in my dashboard. In the top right corner where there's the hamburger menu, I can actually go to the payout section right here. And this is where I can actually say, here's all the coins that I'm interested in getting paid out in, and what percentage of my nightly payout do I actually want to get paid. So here, 40% of my nightly payout gets paid in USDC. 40% of my nightly payout gets paid in Solana. 10% of my nightly payout gets paid in DAI. And 10% of my nightly payout gets paid in Ethereum. But then beyond that, what's really, really cool, and something that you also run into when you start working with pools, is they don't actually pay you out super frequently. They only pay you out whenever you meet a certain minimum. Oftentimes that's to hedge the cost of gas and the cost of doing transactions. But with ProHashing, whenever you actually integrate your ProHashing account with Coinbase, now they have an agreement set up where they can actually transfer your payout every single night at midnight, no matter what. Oh, I just threw my pen. Okay, now I got my pin back. So the idea here is some of these coins are actually a little bit tougher to get paid in if you don't have a lot of really powerful miners. It can be hard to build up a large balance of, say, USDC or Ethereum. So when I actually click this edit button right here, this is the dialog box, and it tells you, do you see this right here? The payout threshold for USDC is $5,000. That's pretty hard to mine $5,000 worth of USDC. But if you're actually using right there, send payouts to Coinbase account, the payout threshold is nada, and the payout fee is 0. It's free. So as long as you have a Coinbase account and you integrate it right here with ProHashing, you can mine $5 worth of USDC today, and you'll get that payment at midnight, which is kind of fascinating and fun. This is a different way that these organizations do it. Now, the good thing about Solana, of course, is that fees are effectively non-existent. They're like less than a penny. So I can actually send my Solana directly to my Web3 DeFi wallet and my Ledger account. So when I click edit here, what we can do is I can just set how I want to be paid and use a custom payout threshold. And right here, down here on the threshold, you can simply set it to minimum, because when the minimum payout is this low, the fee is still $0. So it's fine if I mine $11 worth of my balance here, then go ahead and pay the actual gas fee of Solana, which is 0.000005 Sol, which is tiny. I mean, it's less than a penny. So that way, no matter what, I'm still going to get paid every single night for Solana by using the custom threshold here and just setting it to the minimum. Basically, what this is saying is, what is the minimum amount of Sol that you need to mine in order to actually get paid every single day? And typically, this comes with a fee and a cost associated with it. Oftentimes, it is the fee that is associated with gas. But in this case, because gas is effectively non-existent in Solana, I don't have that problem. So this is what I'm using to actually mine to, and this is a pool, and this is how everything works. You just choose what currencies you actually want to get paid out in your payout settings. Now you may be thinking to yourself, Knox, how much are you getting paid? Let's go to the customer charts real quick. So this is basically going to show you what looks like, 2 week setting here of how I've done over the last couple weeks. This is running 6 Litecoin miners, Antminer L3 pluses, dialed all the way back because I modified them to be silent. They're not overclocked in any way. They're using HiveOS to set it to the most efficient settings, and you can watch my playlist on how I configured that, plus that little Apollo miner. And every now and then I use my RTX 3080 to mine Ethereum. So it looks like right now my payouts are going to be right around $40. Now this bar is low right now because this is literally the middle of the day, and this is just how much it's earned so far today. By the end of the day, I expect it to be, somewhere up around here. So I'm making some decent money. This is some passive income that I make every single day. Requires absolutely no effort from me whatsoever. I don't even look at these things. It just works. And every night I get a push notification from Coinbase that says you received such and such payout from ProHashing. And every night I log into my Solana wallet and I see right around midnight, there's a deposit. It's, a relatively cute little deposit of, $15 or so. But nonetheless, it happens every single day, and that stuff adds up. If you even want to check it out under my dashboard right now, this is kind of what it's showing you what's going on today. I created a group called Knox Home because this is what I'm mining in my home. And if I expand this group down, you can see all of the miners that are just clocking away right now. This is also another thing that I think is really fascinating with ProHashing that I want to point out. Right now, I see that these miners are all mining Litecoin because that is the most profitable script coin for them to mine this very second. What ProHashing can do, though, is it actually monitors the prices of all of the coins that my miners could mine. And if one coin in an instant becomes more profitable, I'll see these little logos right here change. For instance, if Dogecoin were to become more profitable to mine than Litecoin, even for an hour, ProHashing will send the signal to my miners and swap them to mine the most profitable coin on the fly. So I maximize my profits and get paid the currencies that I want to get paid in, and with the integration to Coinbase or the low fees of Solana, I don't actually have to wait to build up a huge balance to get paid. I get paid every single night. It's a humongous win. I really, really like this. So now you may be wondering to yourself, how do you actually go about setting this up? Maybe you don't have ASIC miners like the AMP miners that I've shown before. It's going to look something like this. If you want to get started using your GPU to mine, of course you do want to have a better GPU, something on the good scale, to actually make this profitable and worth your time. And I'd encourage you to do your own research about what is profitable and how much should you invest in all this stuff, because nothing that I say in these videos is financial advice. It should never be construed as financial advice. Any type of investing or dealing with cryptocurrency is risky, and I'm just a passionate guy off the streets having a conversation with my friends. So here's how I would get started if you're sitting on like an RTX 3070 or something like that, and you want to mine some Ethereum but get paid in some Solana. One of the easiest ways is to use a miner called lolMiner. And very funny, the way you do this is to download the installer from a different mining pool. If you actually go to Google mine SHIB or however you want to call it, it's mining the Shiba Inu, what you're going to find is a link right here like this to a website called Unmineable. Unmineable is doing something very similar to ProHashing, but in my opinion, nowhere nearly as flexible enough. You're mining Ethereum, but getting paid in something like Shiba Inu or a different currency. The difference with Unmineable, though, is you can only get paid in the one currency that you specify, and you do have to build up a minimum. There's no integration into a platform like Coinbase so that you can get paid every single night. In my case, with my RTX 3080, it would have taken me like 2 weeks to get a payment of something like $15 or something like that. So it wasn't very good, but nonetheless, this is where I got my miner from. I went to the SHIB mining pool right here, and over here on the right-hand side, I see this. It's kind of hard to see. This get started with lolMiner. That's the miner that I use for my RTX 3080 right now. So I give that a click, and it takes you over here to this downloading page, and it says download the files. You're going to get it from GitHub. So we'll give this a click, and this is the part that I want to warn you about right now. When you try and download this, Windows Defender, your antivirus, whatever, they're totally going to freak out. It's going to block this download. So you may have to turn off Windows Defender. You may have to turn off all your antivirus settings, all your firewall settings, just to get this download to complete. You may have to try different browsers like Firefox just to get this download. It's kind of a pain. This is probably the worst part about the entire process is downloading this, but you want to keep it off too because it's going to be a big deal. Let's scroll down until you see the assets right here, and then you can click on either the Linux version for running it on a Linux machine or a Mac OS machine, or the Windows 64-bit version. So it's the one that says .zip or the one that says .tar.gz. So you give that a click, and it actually goes to run the downloader. I'm going to put this in my downloads folder. And I'll click save. Now let's see if this actually, see right there, it's been dangerous and it has been blocked. So Brave, the web browser, doesn't even want to download this. So I'm going to fast forward until I've gotten this successfully downloaded, and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. So I've gotten this file downloaded by fighting through my firewall and Windows Defender and the actual web browser settings. Nonetheless, I got this zip file downloaded, and I extracted that zip file to a folder on my hard drive that I can now work with, and this is the contents of it. If you go back and you turn, what did I do here? I hit a button. Let's change this. What I'm saying. I'm going to change the view back to details real quick. If you go back and turn your Windows Defender on, your antivirus on, I will warn you that one of the things that happens pretty frequently is you'll go to actually start this miner and it will delete the file. It will quarantine the file that actually does the mining. Here, I'm going to hit the button, and that is lolMiner.exe. If you've attempted to run this miner yet or anything like that, and this file is missing, that means your antivirus has blocked this and stopped it from running. Now, what we need to do is we need to tell lolMiner, you're going to be mining Ethereum, and we want you to be sending your hashes to the ProHashing pool. So to do this, there's some steps we need to go through. First of all, the view of your file explorer, we need to be able to actually see the file extensions. That's these .bats, the .txts, the .exes that are listed here in the list. So on Windows 11, it looks like this. There's going to be a view section. On Windows 10, there's still a view section at the top. And what I'm going to do is under show, I'm going to make sure that file name extensions is checked off. Again, if you're using an older version of Windows like Windows 10, just go to view and then make sure the file name extensions checkbox is checked, and you can actually see these like .bats or anything like that. So now in the blank space down here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose new, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this just a new text document, even though it's not going to be a text document. See, it shows up here like this, new text document 2.txt. I'm going to highlight the whole thing, and I'm going to say start ProHash.bat. Now, when I press enter, it's going to prompt me and say like, hey, you're changing the extension. Are you sure you want to do that? I'll press enter, and it says, are you sure you want to change it? I'm going to click yes. So now I see I've got this like little logo here. There's start ProHash.bat at the bottom. The crazy thing about this is you can still edit this file just like a text file. So what I'll do here is I'll actually bring up Notepad. Here, let me click the start menu. I'll type in Notepad. And with Notepad selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that BAT file so that I can type in the commands that I want it to do. Now, don't worry, this isn't something that's hard. We're actually going to cheat a lot and copy and paste a bunch. So I'm going to navigate to the folder where I've got this BAT file, and I'm going to change my dropdown to show me all files so I see my .bat, and I'm going to find start ProHash.bat right there at the bottom. When I click open, no problem. Now I've got the file open and I'm editing it in Notepad. Now check this. I'm going to open up another version of Notepad real quick. I'm just going to right click on this and choose Notepad one more time. I'll bring a second Notepad onto the screen. I'll go to File and Open. It takes me back into the same folder where lolMiner is. I'll choose All Files, and I'm just going to choose one of these start files that exists here by default, like start Doge, start Matic, start Zell, start something, anything like that. When I click open, I see all of these commands that are looking here, and this is what we're going to change up a little bit. Let me just copy this as a starting point for my existing file, and we'll put it over here into the start ProHash. Now I've got what I need to actually get started deploying my ProHashing miner. So it's going to run the lolMiner.exe that's in this folder. It's going to be using the ETH algorithm. This is basically saying you're going to be mining Ethereum. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe out this pool setting, the -- pool. We're going to change this to be ProHashing. Then I'm going to specify my own username and password that we're going to deploy real quick. And we're going to get that info from ProHashing once we've created an account. So let me jump back to ProHashing and let me show you where to go to do this. We're going to go to Tools, and then we're going to go to Worker Configurator right here at the top. So the manufacturer, since we're using a GPU, we can leave this set to not listed /GPU/CPU. This means we're just going to be using a GPU miner, so it's not a specific manufacturer of an ASIC miner that we're looking for. The algorithm we just covered was ETH. Be careful because there's ETC hash right above it. So we're going to set this to ETH. And the hash rate, this is going to be kind of a guesstimate. You need to do a little bit of searching to figure out what your GPU is actually going to be capable of. I know my RTX 3080 is capable of around 80 megahashes per second, so that's what I'm going to leave it on. Now everything here, I'm okay with leaving it to the default settings. The only thing we really need to specify is a worker name. In this case, I'll call this RTX 3080 GPU. This is just a name so that I can identify this specific computer and this specific GPU that I'm working in. Now the group name is basically if I have multiple miners running in my environment, do I want to keep up with, oh, these are my GPU miners, or oh, this is in that location. For instance, I have a group called Knox Home. Now, the fascinating thing is over here, it tells you what the parameters are that we need to copy and paste into this file. So, for the connection URL, I'm going to grab just prohashing.com:3339. I'll right click, copy. I'll come down to my bat file and I'll paste it in right over here where I had the ethhashunminable.com. So if I paste it in, it looks just like this. Now I got to grab my username. So I'll jump back to ProHashing. I'll grab my username right here, right click, copy, go back to my bat file, and I'll overwrite this really long username and paste it in. Now I have a password here, and this is where it starts to get a little tricky. So I'll right click and copy on the password, and now I have to specify my own password as a parameter in this bat file. The password parameter is --PASS. I'll hit space, I'll paste in my password. This is basically saying to ProHashing, hey, we're gonna go to prohashing.com. This is the user that's gonna get paid, and this is the effective algorithm that they're running. Ethereum, this is the name of the miner, and this is the group of the miner. So with this being done, this is my bat file that is now ready to rock and roll. I'll click File and Save, and that finishes up my bat file, so I can close my bat file. Back in my File Explorer, I now see my start prohash.bat. If I double click it, there we go. Off to the races. My miner is getting started right now. I can hear my GPU starting to spin up. There it goes. Nice and warm. And the pièce de résistance, if I jump back to ProHashing and I jump over to my dashboard, now under my Knox Home group, there it is, RTX 3080 GPU. Now it's going to show 0 hashes. Oh, and did you see that? Did you see it just changed to mining Dash right now on the fly? So this is my Ethereum miner, and these ASIC miners are now mining Dash because it became the most profitable. Now it's going to say 0 hashes per second for a little while. It's going to take a little bit to synchronize with the ProHashing environment, but after a few minutes, this is going to get spun up and start going, and it'll be something more like 80 mega hashes per second, and then you're off to the races and you're mining. So the miner is now pointed to the mining pool. It is effectively mining. The last thing you want to do to make sure you're set up and ready to rock and roll is that your payouts are configured. So again, to finish that up, we'll go to the payout section, and you probably want to start by going to Coinbase options and specifying the Coinbase tokens that you want to get connected to. You got to get connected first, which is going to be right over here. And then down here, you want to check off the coins that you could potentially get paid in for when it comes time to actually get paid, over to Coinbase. So once you've got those checked off, then you can add a new payout option right here under payout proportions, and you can specify the coin that you want to get paid in, like Solana or Polkadot or Tron or Tezos. You can check right here to send the payouts to Coinbase. You do have to specify a backup secondary account. So you may have to go download a wallet or get a wallet extension plugged in to generate an address. But then from there, you're good to go. You just click save. And now that target address is specified. The last thing you have to do is specify what percentages of your payouts should go to these individual coins. So it's a lot. It's a little bit to get started for sure. But nonetheless, this is how I am getting paid in proof-of-stake coins. This is how I'm getting paid USDC, Solana, and Polkadot for mining every single night. So that's what I'm bringing to the table. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. And if you're interested in exploring ASIC mining, which is where the real money is, make sure you check out my playlist on how I actually converted an Antminer L3 Plus to be silent. So make sure you check that out. All right. Thanks for stopping by, y'all. See you in the next one.